welcome to our Conscious Leader Circle, where we meet once a month to support each other through these uncertain and changing times, to help each other be grounded, energized, and focused, or what I like to say, centered, connected, and conscious. And today our theme is mastering manifestation with mantras. And I absolutely love mantras and affirmations. And they have helped me so much in my journey of healing and evolution and personal development. And I have some mantras that I have used since I was a kid. And then we create new mantras as we evolve and grow. So today, what we're going to be focusing on is really focusing on that alignment, aligning our mantras with where we're at, what our goal is. You can think of a 6-month goal, if you want, or something bigger or shorter. But a 6-month goal is pretty sort of in the center of time to manifest. And then if we had mantras from our last mantra session in January or February, to see if we need to, revise them, revisit them, and if they're still in alignment with who we are. So I first wanted to start the session by putting out to you guys a question of what do you think mantras are? Like, how do you relate to mantras? Not yet what the mantras are that you're going to be using or practicing with, but what do you think mantras really are? Anybody want to take a crack at that? Yana, go ahead.
Oh,
yeah, Yana.
It's sort of like, it's a manifestation of where you see yourself. So even if maybe somewhere in your mind you don't see yourself fully there, the mantra is you're visualizing and focusing and seeing yourself in that place, in the moment, right now.
That's awesome. Awesome. Anybody else want to contribute as to what is really a mantra? I mean, there's no right or wrong. It's just our relationship with it. But I'm just curious to see if you guys have thought about that. What are we actually doing?
Hey, Lydia, it's Teresa.
Hi, Teresa.
Hi. The way I see mantras, they're like words, intent, energy, and vibration focused on what we want to manifest and bring into our life. Basically, that's it.
Awesome. That's great. So a lot of intention, being able to visualize where we want to be by creating these words. Anything else? Anybody want to contribute, share?
It's sort of like refocusing your energy on the intention. So by repetition. So if I say blue and I repeat that in a calming tone, in a repetition, it resonates with you, with your I don't know what the word is, with your channel, I guess, your tone. So it's in such a way that you're calming your mind and you're taking in the information, and so it's resonating with you. So it's positive as well.
Yeah, so resonance, coherence, frequency, so intention, all that. That's amazing. This is all great stuff. Anybody else want to contribute to what do you see a mantra being, or what is it to you?
Mantra came to me is medicine. And as well, for me, it is intention, of course, to focus our mind and to raise our vibration, but also is devotion. I often use mantra for devotion, to connect with something greater than myself. Yeah.
But tell me a little bit about devotion.
I don't even know how to express devotion, but I have I have practiced in some devotional channel, interesting, I would say, since I was a kid, you know, with the Virgin Mary. And as a Catholic, I would just sit and go sit in church and listen for the messages. And then as I got older, I became more interested in Buddhism. And in Buddhism, of course, there are so many devotional deities, both in Hinduism and in Buddhism. So I think it's an opportunity to connect with something. It's like, I feel that's why so many people today are feeling lost or disconnected in some fashion, because we no longer have that type of devotion in our Christian society. So much religion now is not taught or practiced in a home. So I feel devotion is very important on one's spiritual journey as well, to self-awareness.
Wow, any comments on that? Anybody want to contribute or share anything about that? Okay, so sorry, Teresa.
It's hard when I'm on the phone. I can't see you got here, so I'm kind of just putting it out there as my intuition kind of comes forward. The word commitment came to me as this lady was speaking about devotion. It's like a commitment, perhaps on our soul level, to follow through what is in our soul and our spirit, you know, the God force energy into the physical. So the devotion is like perhaps maybe like a repetition with intent to manifest our higher self and our soul purpose on the earth plane.
Yeah, anybody want to comment on that?
Lovely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this is all phenomenal. So what I'm trying to, create is a greater relationship with what we're doing from our own essence. So we're each unique, and we each have our own essence, our own soul, and our own soul path. And then from that place of connection, then to align with that, and then start to create words that can set intention with commitment to support us in achieving what we want to create in our life. And I always see mantras as something very simple based on the universal principle, everything is energy. And when we want to create something, first of all, as we're talking about now, ideally, and there's no right or wrong because everybody has their own experiences, ideally we want it to manifest from our soul, or what we're talking about, our essence, or from the divine connection with ourselves to something greater that, you know, is high vibration, that's beneficial for us. So manifesting from our soul and not our ego is part of the paradigm shift that we're living through right now. And I think I put a couple of weeks ago in the Pony Healing newsletter the quote that I used to hear as a kid: "Be careful what you ask for, you might just get it." And that's I was sort of like, you better think twice about that, Lidia. And then I realized that was really part of the old paradigm of just kind of, you know, trying to manifest anything you want, like from the ego without being conscious, right? And then when I was young, I read The Power of Positive Thinking, and I started really working with intention and affirmations and mantra, realizing it was more from my soul or from an aligned state. And when we can manifest from our soul, it's really a shortcut. It makes life a lot easier. We have that inner ease of being able to navigate through any circumstance because we're grounded, we're centered, we're connected, right, with our essence, our power, and we're conscious of what we're doing. So when we work with these sorts of tools, and mantras and affirmations are a tool, ideally, to make everything flow, or to support everything in flowing, and to make life easier, then when we can connect with our own essence, our spirit, and the divine, as I mentioned, within us and around us, then it really, really supports efficient manifestation. And the manifestation may not always be a linear line. Everything moves in a spiral. And sometimes we set the intention and create a mantra, and all sorts of things happen, and we question, well, you know, what's going on? But sometimes that is exactly what's meant to happen in order to get to where we want to go. And that's when relationship with self and being able to tune in to what we started our conversation with today. Where am I coming from? What does it mean to me? And how exactly am I manifesting? Are all very important foundational aspects in really creating effective mantras for manifestation. So I've always seen mantras as a frequency. So if I want to create something and I create a mantra and affirmation and I visualize an outcome, then I've already set in motion that reality through a frequency, through my thoughts. The principle, everything is energy, right? So now that's out there in the universe. It's already like a plan, like it's already done. You know, that's the old principle and manifestation, to experience the outcome as if it's already done, not to hope for it. You can hope, which is great. It's not to exclude hoping, but then to go within oneself and breathe into it and be in your center and experience it as if it's already done. And this is talked about quite a bit in recent years, but I did that when I was really little without knowing that it was a principle. And then you have relief, like it's like, oh, it's already done. And now I just have to take steps to manifest on the physical plane. So it takes away some of the, sometimes like the burden of achieving something or the unknown, because often we want to manifest something, we just don't know how to do it. But creating an aligned mantra is a phenomenal first step that gets us really in our power, to connect with our inner power with an inner ease about it, right? And to know that we're in alignment as we travel through that journey to creating that outcome. So when we set a mantra or affirmation, then it's already done on a frequency level. And our challenge as part of our evolutionary path is to integrate the material and spiritual and on the earth plane. And now we want to live it as a spiritual being in a physical body. But it's already, there's already a path, you know, cleared through the brush type of thing. And it's just for us to now take action and have consciousness around that. So that's my take on mantras. So anybody else want to comment on that before we start sharing or discussing mantras?
I just had a question a little bit around what you said, Lidia. It came to me this morning when I was doing self-Reiki and a little bit around like when you're feeling a bit of a shift in your consciousness, you know, like the frequency shifting a little bit, which I sort of felt around Christmas time, a little bit after. And then sometimes the actual physical body, you could have a few challenges and maybe the physical body has to kind of align and catch up with where you've sort of shifted mentally, like with the passing of my mom and just some different things. There was a little bit of physical stuff going on, which is kind of coming around now. But I'm wondering, is that, you know, you're aligning with the physical a little bit with maybe where you're shifting as a frequency spiritually?
Well, absolutely. A body, mind, spirit. So we're trying to unite all three at this time so we can continue to evolve from the place of our soul and into higher consciousness. And the ratio of higher vibration to, let's say, material or heavier vibration is a 1-to-7 ratio. And Michio Kushi in Macrobiotics used to talk a lot about this. And that is, I don't know what it is right now on the planet. It's probably maybe more condensed, like a shorter time frame to manifest, because we are rapidly evolving into high vibration. But so it takes a bit of time. So we can visualize it done, but then to feel it in our physical body, or to be able to live it out on the material plane, can take a bit of time. And for those of us who are light workers and have an ancient memory of being able to manifest instantly, that can feel a bit frustrating. It's like, I'm supposed to be able to just manifest. and it's kind of taking time, or it may take twists and turns, right, on its path. Martin, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I'm just going to briefly make a comment. It's an observation of somebody I know in town, and it's actually the opposite what Joanna was saying. So the mantra was basically self-deprecating. Okay, so oh, I have a terrible day. Oh, I got a terrible haircut, or I have the place is a mess. Blah blah blah. So that can also be encouraging your behavior.
Absolutely.
She said, I have anxiety. Okay. Okay, yeah, but anyway, she didn't say much about it. But in other words, if you say that often enough, you're going to believe what you say.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to become what you say.
That's right.
Right? If you say, oh, I have lovely blue hair, eventually you're going to have lovely blue hair. Well, except for David, but
No,
so it's the opposite of what we're trying to do. And you're not intentionally doing it. She's not intentionally saying, I have anxiety. I have anxiety. That's her behavior. And it's not helpful to her.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the extreme opposite of what we're trying to do today. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, and this is a great point to bring up, Martin, because we are in this paradigm shift. And the beautiful thing about mantras is that they are supportive at any state of consciousness that you're in. So if you are just beginning to awaken to the fact that, you're a powerful spiritual being and you can do things to support yourself, then you can create a mantra at the level that you're at to help you shift, right? And but the old paradigm is creating a mindset for self-destruction, basically, right? And and we are shifting that. We are moving forward, in an evolutionary aspect. But there are many people who aren't yet aware that they do have the natural ability to think positively, to set intention, to visualize, and to act and manifest. And so that's, again, the beautiful thing about mantras and affirmations. It doesn't matter where you're at in your own evolutionary growth. They are beautiful tools that can help you. And as time goes on, we do want to dissolve those old patterns of negativity and basically self-destruction. Jessica, is your hand up, or is that just something on your screen?
It's up.
Okay, great.
I just wanted to say good afternoon or morning, whatever it is. I just wanted to say manifesting connection, and I heard something really interesting.
Transformation. Sorry, Jessica, we lost you on that.
am I cutting out? Am I
Yeah.
okay now?
You're okay now. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. Okay, so something that I heard on a podcast. I think I'm going through a rough spot. I can come back and talk in a minute. How's that?
All right. Just
take your camera off and just do audio.
How do I do that? Stop video. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
No. Stop video. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, so really quickly, the connection between intention or mantras and manifesting. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. There's the three attentions or tensions. So you set the intention, and that would be your mantra. And then you pay attention to the signs. So you say yes to when the opportunities come up that are aligned with your intention. And then you pay no attention. So you can't be sitting and thinking, why hasn't it happened yet? Why hasn't it happened yet? I'm supposed to be manifesting. This isn't working. It will work when it's time for it to work. When it happens isn't up to you, right? So the three tensions, you set the intention here, Cameron. You pay attention to the signs, and then you pay no attention to when it will happen for you.
Well, that's beautiful. And that's really what we talk about with manifesting from our soul, because we want to honor our soul path. And so we don't want to beat ourselves up if something isn't manifesting, because we have our soul path overrides everything else, right? That's if we're in alignment with that. If we try to interfere or force something to happen, then that becomes a little bit more complicated, right? In terms of cause and effect. And for anybody who is a practitioner in some way, or therapist or coach or supporting others, we're especially conscious of that, that everybody has their own soul path, and we're to support, and not to interfere with what the practitioner thinks may be the best for that person. So that's a very good point, Jessica, that manifestation isn't straightforward. There are many varied layers and aspects of it. And we don't want to ever beat ourselves up. We don't want to get into self-blame. We're moving out of self-blame into self-responsibility. And they can, self-responsibility doesn't have to be something heavy. It's just relationship with self in a fully accepting and deeply connecting way. But absolutely, we have at the end, as Jessica was saying, non-attachment, right? So we have non-attachment. We set the intention. We pay attention. We take action. So awareness, acceptance, and action. So awareness and acceptance are those first two aspects that Jessica was talking about. And then action, right, in the direction. But it may be that our soul path really is going to go somewhere else. And so we don't want to feel like we aren't powerful enough to manifest. We don't want to get into self-blame. And that can arise during the awakening process, because people read and hear about, oh, everybody can manifest this, that, or the other. But then why aren't I doing it? And so then that is the whole journey of personal development and healing and growth and evolution. But we certainly are great manifestors, but it's not, just a one path to manifestation. It's manifesting is somewhat, I wouldn't say complicated, but it has various aspects to consider. And that's why we have non-attachment, at the end of it all. because maybe I thought I was manifesting from my soul, maybe not from my ego in a detrimental way, but maybe my soul path changed. But setting a higher intention for myself is still always going to help me grow and evolve. So it's always a positive thing to do. Any other comments on that? It gets a little complicated.
Lidia, have you heard of requesting most benevolent outcomes? You know, Tom Moore's got a book, The Gentle Way, where you say it out loud and you request the most benevolent outcome for everyone involved or every being involved. That works for me. So that what's great about it is that you're putting out your intention through that. You're not saying how it's going to be done, but it's the best for everybody involved. And you know, his book's that was really great, because the fastest way to add chaos in my life, because you and I talked about this years ago when you taught me Reiki, and it was, you know, the minute I try and do this or do a vision board, chaos goes in my life. Like within about a half an hour, everything blows up. The job, the people. Oprah Winfrey did a whole episode on, vision boards. And I thought, oh, how great. And I got my little thumbtacks out and my pictures and I put it all up. And like literally within a half an hour, like it was insane. And I tried it 3 times and it happened every time. So I was like, okay, we're just going to put this away and do it a different way. So I think it's great learning through this, where some people it works and you just have to find your way with it. It's just, it's just what works for you. And that's kind of how it worked for me. But it honestly, everything blew up when I tried to sort of follow those rules.
Well, I think that's beautiful, because so what the book you're talking about is, again, non-attachment, that you set the intention and let it be for the highest good. And that's one of the principles in Reiki. Yes. Is we share energy for the highest good. And if we're doing long distance Reiki, we share it for the highest good of whoever and whatever may need it or want it. And in addition to, if a friend or client specifically wants the Reiki, then of course we're going to send it to them. But we're always conscious of the highest good and non-attachment in channeling Reiki. And the same thing in working with mantras, and the same thing in life. Right. So this is really, an expression of the art of living, of self-mastery, that we stay committed. We connect with our essence, our soul, our inner power, and then we take action, and then we have no attachment to it, or we let it go, and live and let live, live and let go, that, all those sorts of expressions. But in essence, we're always, whatever approach to working with mantras or affirmations or manifesting, we always want to have a connection with ourselves in some way, shape, or form as a foundation to evolving, to expanding our consciousness and creating our highest quality life. So absolutely, there are many, many approaches, and there's not just one set of steps that everyone needs to take. There are as many ways to manifest as there are people.
And I think a lot of the early manifestation, like if you saw what Hay House did with all of the courses and the books and everything, it's the whole non-attachment, because there really was attachment in a lot of this. It's like, how do you make more money? How do you get a better job? How do you get a better apartment? So there was so much of that attached to it, where, you're right. You have to step away from it with the attachment to it and request the best outcome.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with wanting those things. Like when I was a kid, I had a little Christmas decoration by my bed of a little farmhouse, like a little cabin. And I always wanted to have a little house, like Little House on the Prairie, but it didn't happen. That came from my soul. So that didn't happen right away. And now, as what happens sometimes with manifestation, many years later, it manifested, you know, tenfold. So I have a lot of little house in the prairie houses on my property. So I guess I was ready for that. I just wanted one little house, and I've got all these little houses to renovate. Yeah, it depends. Like Dave was saying, your attachment to it. You know, like what is the attachment to the car, you know, or the house? You know, three people wanting the same thing isn't coming from the same place, right? And again, there's nothing wrong. If someone wants to manifest purely from their ego, then that is part of their soul journey. And that's what they're meant to experience in this lifetime, right? Like that's their teaching. And that's okay. You know, every soul on the planet has come with their own reason for being here and what they are meant to learn and evolve with. So this is an awesome discussion about manifesting. Thank you everybody for your great contributions. It's so important before we create affirmations or mantras, and a lot of people, you know, can't visualize, and they're not meant to do it in a visual way. So, and not all mantras are about visualizing. So, you know, we're all unique in how, as Dave was saying, and how we align with ourselves to create our highest quality life, you know, especially in any circumstance, because we want to live in our best state of being at all times, regardless of what's going on around us. I mean, that is a beautiful inner ease of living, which doesn't drain us, right? We're not easily burdened or depleted when we're in that Taoist state of non-attachment. So anybody want to discuss their mantra or practice with the mantra, or any comments about the mantras you created a few months ago and how that's going? We're here to support and share.
Can I ask a question? Because when you're speaking of mantra, what does the mantra consist of? I'm so used to mantra being Hindu or Buddhist or Christian, almost more as a prayer, as for guidance, protection, for stability. I've not really practiced manifesting as much with mantra, other than being asking that I be linked with something, you know, that allows perhaps for that manifestation to come, but not for something specific. So when you speak of mantra, Lidia, what words are you using, or is it more of an affirmation, but you're utilizing the word mantra? Tell me a little bit about.
Yeah, it's just an open-ended, our conversation today is open-ended about setting intention through words. So I'll give you two examples. Two of my personal favorite mantras or affirmations, or, you know, quotes, you know, expressions. One from a poet: "If it is to be, it is up to me." I've always found that very empowering in my own journey. And then "I live my highest quality life in any circumstance." So we're just using it in a very broad sense. Absolutely, mantras in spiritual, you know, chanting and spiritual and religious traditions are more frequent, like you're more connecting with the frequency, right, of that itself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, good.
Yeah, but that, so we're just keeping it very broad and open. And then yes. and then each person can connect with what that means to them, and in terms of their path to manifesting. That's a great aspect of clarity on mantras. Thanks. Anybody want to share anything about mantras, their mantra, and a mantra that they're drawn to?
I'll start.
Okay, Miriam, awesome.
Obviously, mine is always about health. So I try to repeat this at least 3 times a day. Every cell in my body is alive and healthy.
Mm.
And to me, you know, I try to feel it as if it is.
Well, that's very powerful. And what do you, when you say your mantra 3 times a day, what do you feel within yourself?
It's gratitude for being healthy, and also just trying to I don't know. I mean, it's just a feeling that I want my body to be healthy and stay, you know, well. And so it's just a feeling that it doesn't manifest itself other than in my gratitude, obviously, when I'm grateful for my health at this present time.
Mm-hmm. And when you say it doesn't manifest itself, what do you mean by that?
I'm saying that I feel it. I hope for it. I want it to be, I want to be healthy, but I'm always grateful for the way I am right now, for my good health at this time. So that's how I see it manifested. At this point, I am healthy.
Awesome. Beautiful and powerful. Thank you, Miriam. Anybody else want to comment on that or share anything about mantras, affirmations, manifesting? No? Okay, no mantras to share. Okay, so why don't we do an exercise where we take a few minutes to write down. You can, if you have something you're working with, or if you want to create an affirmation or mantra, take a few minutes. We'll do a couple of deep breaths and then be silent, and we'll write down. You can do what first comes to your mind, like first thought of whatever comes to mind. And let's write down for our own personal use and empowerment, a mantra or affirmation that feels right for us. So let's take a couple of deep breaths. Okay, let's take a nice deep breath and come out of that. Anybody want to share how they're feeling by connecting with that? Okay, I'll go first. I always feel very grounded and centered when I create mantra or affirmation. I feel a sense of relief in the knowing that I've connected with my essence, my inner power, and I am the master of my destiny, right? And hopefully from my soul, but and I feel a sense of like relief, you know, and that I can actually go forward even if I don't know what's going to happen. I feel like a movement, but from a place of being grounded and energized. Anybody else want to share anything? Okay, so one question that I often ask clients to consider, you know, in their own journey of healing and self-development is what are you seeking? And that can have many layers to it. And what is it that you are seeking? It could be in the moment, it could be long-term, it could be something practical, it could be something spiritual. So that's something that I find for deeper relationship with self, very connecting. And it takes some time to sort of think about that. And there's no, you know, when we're doing this sort of work, there's no right or wrong response to yourself, right? There's no one needs to know, like it's just you and yourself, or me, myself, and I having relationship with all of that. And so sometimes we'll just do like first thought technique, where what are you seeking? And then what's the first thought, the first image that comes to mind? And then we can work with that to create deeper connection and ultimately more aligned manifestation. So any other comments or questions before we do our long distance Reiki today? Anything about mantras, manifestations? We had a wonderful deep conversation, which was awesome. Martin.
Okay, it's a little bit outside of our conversation, but it sort of is. So I used to have be in a group, and I came to the meeting and I said, you know, there is an advantage to not having expectations. I mean, it's not for us like talking today, but if you go to a meeting and you say, I'm not going to have any expectations for this meeting. So that gives yourself a relief.
Right.
And it really was a mind twist, you know? So, I mean, if I want to learn how to skydive, that's going to be really difficult if I'm afraid of heights, you know? So my expectation is really stopping me from shift. It's stopping me from, it's blocking my goal.
Okay.
Anyway, that's
awesome, because that's really part of the self-mastery and non-attachment, is to not have attachment to the expected outcome while aligning your frequency with your highest self. Now, this is what you're talking about, Martin, is more high level self-mastery. So we want to be able to function on the earth plane to manifest in the physical, our body, you know, in the material world, without expectation, but with alignment that we create. We're co-creators. So we want to keep moving. One of the fundamental principles in the order of the universe is everything changes. And that's because energy is always in motion. And so we want to be in a flow of energy of continual transformation, hopefully higher transformation, without expectation. And how do you do that? When you set intention and you want to manifest. So they're not mutually exclusive. They are actually a beautiful unity in the consciousness of self-awareness and self-mastery. And so I'm glad that you brought that up, Martin, because that's very much a part of the Taoist on attachment that I work with when I'm coaching clients. Deep thoughts. And so any other deep thoughts for our session today? Okay, so what we end every session with is I send long distance Reiki to the group, and Sometimes we have a wonderful guest who guides like a guided meditation. Now, what I did today is, and then we'll do the long distance Reiki at the same time as the guided meditation. But what I did today was I pulled one of my guided visualization meditations to strengthen your core energy from my YouTube channel. So I just wanted to ask you guys, would you like a silent long distance Reiki session for about, we have about 7 minutes, just on its own? Or would you like to have the video playing of the guided meditation to strengthen your core energy? I have no attachment to the outcome. I have no expectation of that. So I'm at peace with whatever you decide. So I have to throw that in there. So hands up for silent Reiki. Oh, I can't see the others. Or Reiki with a guided meditation video. I think we're at a tie. So why don't
we break that tie?
Okay, Teresa. Yes, Teresa,
Doesn't matter.
break the tie.
What's coming to me just for today, I don't know about next time, but it's like a silent meditation. I find sometimes that if there is like words spoken, my focus goes on the words and following, the meditation. But if it's quiet, I find many times I feel your Reiki long distance healing much stronger. And it's just me today. It's just the way I'm feeling today. It might be different next time, but.
Well, that's great. So you're the tiebreaker, but absolutely both are very popular. For me personally, I love silence. I could not speak or talk for probably months. And a lot of people love guided meditation or like a guided visual meditation. I don't know the exact different terms, and they love them, and they are very powerful and connecting for them. So both are absolutely fine. And as I mentioned before, a lot of people don't connect through visualizing, and that's totally okay. So let's do silence. Let's do silence today. And it is 11:55. So who has to leave at exactly 11:56? Who has to leave at exactly 12? If you do, that's fine. Thank you for joining us. And if you don't, I'm going to go until 11:03, right? 11:05, 11. I can't do math right now. Yeah, 11. So 11:04. Let's do 11:04. How's that? Does that work?
Good.
Yeah. Okay. So let's take a nice deep breath. And imagine yourself in a beautiful place, in perfect health in every way. And that infinite river of gold and white light coming in, healing every cell in your body. Okay, let's take a nice deep breath and just slowly return. Welcome back. I'm glad nobody, well, it wouldn't matter if you fell asleep and didn't hear the rest of it, but that can happen. It's like, there was a picture there of somebody, now it's just the sofa. It's just the top part of the sofa, they fell asleep. It happens when I do long distance Reiki sessions with clients. And then we always set our alarm. And then sometimes they just pass out. And then I just leave a message and say, we'll follow up later. I'll send you a text message or email. And they don't even hear the phone. They don't even hear the phone. So anything about the long distance Reiki session that you'd like to share? You don't have to, but if there's anything you'd like to discuss, any sensations?
Oh my God. Holy Lidia, no one sends like distance Reiki like you. I've never, and you know, literally the power of that was crazy. So thank you. You have such a gift. I've never experienced anything like your long distance Reiki.
Oh, well, I thank you, Dave. It's always an honor and pleasure. And I just love it. I just dissolve. I don't feel my body. I just channel energy. And I'm grateful to be able to share that.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you all for joining us for this month's Conscious Leader Circle. And we look forward to you joining us again to be centered, connected, and conscious and living our highest quality life through these evolving times.